Hi, I'm Dr. Deborah, and this is my first Shrink This episode. I was sent a question by Edward from Littleton, Colorado, so let me get right to it because I can't wait to shrink the question for Edward. Okay. Edward says, my wife and I have been married for 6 years. We used to have a good relationship, get along, be affectionate, and we had a decent sex life. Now that she's left work and we've had a baby, all we do is fight. I feel like she's constantly looking for reasons to be mad at me. I can do 9 out of the 10 things that she asks me to do, but she'll yell at me for not doing number 1. I try to talk to her about things, and when I do, she shuts down. She doesn't want to be affectionate anymore. I feel like she doesn't love me anymore. And I have needs, sexual needs, that are not being taken care of. I don't want to cheat, but I don't know what to do. Help. Well, Edward, I can't wait to help you. This is such a common problem. As personal as it is to you, it's so common to have exactly the problem that you describe when a couple introduces a child, a baby, into the marriage. And I know you've been married 6 years, but no matter how long you've been married, it's hard to get used to now someone splitting affection, time, and your wife's energy with you. So let me begin by addressing this problem by talking about how normal both of your responses really are. You didn't tell me how young the child is. I'm going to assume that the child's at least under 1 year old. But when a woman has a baby, as you know, there's so many different hormonal changes going on inside of her. And so that causes, some of her, what you perceive as erratic behavior, or maybe some mood changes. But more importantly than that, women have to switch temporarily their preoccupation, their all-consuming preoccupation on the couple, onto the baby. There's a maternal preoccupation that takes place for a woman that is all encompassing, as you know. You don't need me to tell you that because you're experiencing it, okay? But what you need to really know is that that's a very common phenomena that happens when a woman has a baby. It's also very common to have the response that you have to it, feeling neglected, hurt, that you're taking a back seat now to the child. And I know you love your child. It's not about that. It's about feeling neglected after 6 years of both of you having nothing in between you and nothing, taking time away from you other than work. So it really helps for you to wrap your mind around how normal this response for both of you is, because you begin to change the issue from a problem into a challenge in the development of the couple's and now a family's life. I want you to begin to start thinking of the problem as a challenge, because quite honestly, that's what it really is. You're now having a challenge to your relationship. And the baby is asking both of you to attach to the child, learn how to integrate that third beautiful being into your family life, and expanding both of your identities from lovers, spouses, to mother and father. Boy, I gotta tell you, that's a handful. So I want you to now become very aware of that this problem is really a challenge that's expected. But that doesn't mean there aren't things you can do Okay, there's another thing I want you to understand. Let's move on to you address that your wife is angry a lot. Well, let me tell you, in my experience, some of the underlying issues for a mother when she's expressing more hostility or more anger toward her husband in the early stages of raising her child. Okay. Number one, as I mentioned, is that she's having hormonal changes, right? The other thing that she may be doing, she may be unconsciously getting angry at you to create a boundary to assure that the relationship attachment between herself and the child, okay? And she may not be aware that she's using her anger to create this boundary to make sure that nothing interferes with her maternal capabilities and and abilities, because believe me, your wife may be very maternal and very loving, but you know what, having a baby is a new thing. And she's also challenged to understand herself as a mother, express herself as a mother, and she may be unconsciously, again, creating that boundary so nothing interferes with her preoccupation in attending appropriately to her baby's world. So, again, it doesn't completely, take away the challenge for you. But what it does, I hope, Edward, is help you to understand that your wife is, encountering her own stresses and developmental changes just like you. And how do we integrate this baby into our relationship, move on into the a family together, and not lose our love. One of the things that you might be feeling right now that or confused about, you are most likely struggling with your own role of what does it mean for me to be a father. And I don't know if you had a good role model as a father, Edward, but if you didn't, the pressure is more on you into how do I move from being a lover, a man, a husband, into a father. So, one of the things that might be confusing to you that's adding to the stress of your problem is that you're trying to sort through your own relationship to your child. Okay, let me address specifically something you said that always worries me when I hear something come up about cheating. Okay. When you mention cheating, it tells me this. It tells me that you feel very much that your wife is cheating on you with the child. Now, don't be embarrassed. This is a very common feeling. I mean, how natural it would be to feel this way, that you could cheat too, all right? But let me tell you something, cheating never ends up well. And if you do what we psychologists call acting out the impulse, moving the fantasy from the mind into reality, I got to tell you, now you got a boatload of problems that go way beyond the problem that you mentioned to me today. Now, I want to get to some very constructive, practical suggestions for you, all right? Okay, I've already said a couple of them, but I'm going to highlight them again. Number one, you want to reframe the problem as a challenge. Number two, you have intimacy needs that are not being met. But I don't know if the honoring of those, if the first thing is going to be sexual at this point, because as I told you, if your child's under 1 year of age, hormonally and psychologically, your wife is not of the mind, body, and spirit to be sexual. She's in the mind, body, and spirit to be a mother. All right. So I'd like you to step into the mind, body, and spirit of being a father. I want you constructively to admire your wife, admire her for her mothering. Okay, I didn't hear from your problem what you've said to her or how you verbalize your frustration. Okay, I do know that she seems very critical of you from what you're telling me. But let's say, for example, that you are critical of her in your own way. You don't mean to be, but you feel rejected. You might be pouting. I don't know what it is, but I certainly know with my couples in the past, I've seen this before. Okay. So your wife is picking that up. It's registering to her. And what she's going to do is defend against that. So I want you to try something different. And of course, it's got to be genuine. But I want you to look at the way your wife is mothering. Okay? Admire her, compliment her. Tell her you're proud of her. And I think these things will help for your wife to feel less pressure that she has to be a sexual being at this point. And to invite you into that boundary. That's what we want to do. We want you to change your behavior so you're not butting heads with each other, but to change your behavior so she relaxes her boundary and invites you in as the fathering role. I can tell you down the road, Edward, she's going to have so much admiration and trust for you. Of being a father, that how could she not feel loving and sexual toward you down the road? Because down the road, that's what really keeps love alive. Respect, trust, admiration for each other. Those are the things that nurture the soul and make women want to express their love sexually. Thank you so much for sending me this wonderful question. I believe in marriage, and I know firsthand it can work, but it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of opening yourself up, lowering your defenses, and trying to understand your response to the people who are in your daily life. So good luck to you, Edward, and keep me posted. Let me know how this all goes. Take care. Bye.